So, we're finally here. Power Rangers issue 22. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers issue 99. As we are almost at 100 issues of Power Ranger comics. And oh boy, was this issue a crazy one, because Ryan kicked things up to 11, 100, whatever number you want to put on this. He kicked it up a lot. I was not expecting the stakes to be this high in this issue as they establish how powerful the Death Ranger is in this issue, because I thought we'd fight the Death Ranger, an evil Power Ranger, but seeing what he can do on his power level, where he can resurrect the dead, and he plans on resurrecting people across the galaxy, this guy has some godlike powers, and I do wonder how the Rangers are going to deal with him in issue 100 next month, because, oh boy, there's a lot to talk about with this issue and what happens. So, without any further ado, let's talk about Power Rangers issue 22, the penultimate issue leading up to MMPR issue 100. So the issue picks up where we last left off, where Jason and Yale were saved by Andros and Zane. Or is it Zane? But Jason asks, how does Zane know him? Because Jason's never met Zane before, but this isn't Zane. And the Ranger replies by saying, I know you. I have seen your life and I have seen your death. I see your mother now. Follow me and I will show you so much more. So, if you're wondering how he knows Jason, well, don't forget, Jason died in Shattered Grid many, many years ago in that comic run. So Jason's died before, so this mysterious being, which is the Death Ranger, would have seen him during that moment, which I still want to know how his powers work and how he can see the dead, because I do wonder if it's like a sixth sense thing where he can see dead people, but we probably won't get an answer until Power Rangers Unlimited, the Death Ranger, that drops at the end of the month. But either way, this character is full of mystery. So Jason's trying to get answers out of Zane and Andros, but they don't really respond, and they basically go over to the controls of the Astro Mega ship and start pressing a bunch of buttons, and then suddenly they just blow up the space station they were just on, killing all those grunts that were on there. And Jason's shocked. He's lost for words at seeing this, because they just killed hundreds and thousands of people in cold blood. And they don't really respond to Jason of him reacting to all of this. Zane just responds to Andros by saying, Andros, engines at full throttle, we're going home. So they're not going back to Safe Haven. They're probably going to KO-35, which I say probably when I've already read this issue. So yeah, they're going to KO-35. So after that, we then cut to Safe Haven, where Journey and Kivor are going for a bunch of weapons that Arkin has. And these weapons are really interesting. I really do like these ancient weapon designs. But Kivor asks Journey, hey, can you fight? And Journey's like, can I fight? Trini taught me a few moves. And practically wipes the floor with the dude. So Journey's got some moves after being trained by Trini. So after that, on the next page, we then cut to the Vox's people trying to burst open the vault with their blowtorches and stuff like that, and it's not working. And Arkin asks, hey, why the hell do you follow Vox? I mean, he's a bad dude. And Vox's followers tell him a story by saying, before Master Vox, Zircon 2 was weak. It was ruled by corrupt politicians and scheming intellectuals. Wow, that kind of sounds like real life most of the time. We abandoned our traditions and became ashamed of our very history. Okay, that's interesting. I like that line where, because they were ruled by such bad people, they were ashamed of who they are. So it's sort of that ancestry background of having shitty people, so you kind of don't want to acknowledge the past. Kind of like a certain country, or countries, but they tell them that Master Vox was touched by the grid and they finally had a savior. Vox rallied all the people and redeemed their world. And then Vox was taken away by the Omega Rangers, and we kind of know the rest, and that's why they're here to take him back. So that's an interesting backstory that Vox has, and I really hope we get to explore that backstory later down the line. I mean, give me a Vox flashback in like the next couple of issues, like how we did like single issues devoted to certain characters. I would love to see one dedicated to Vox. Would a Vox Power Rangers Unlimited series work? I don't know. I don't think he's enough of a popular character, but I kind of wish we could explore his world and learn more about it and see how his world came to be. But I think the dude pretty much explains it in that dialogue, in that speech. But suddenly, out of nowhere, Journey and Kivor come out of nowhere, ready to fight Vox's troops. And that's where that page leaves off, because we'll get back to the rescue of Journey and Kivor saving Archon, because the next couple of pages, this is where shit hits the fan. So we cut back to the depths of space where Zack and Trini are chasing after the Astro Mega ship, trying to find what's going on, because the communications are jammed and they can't get in contact with Jason or Yale. So, back on the Astro Mega ship, Jason is trying to question what the hell happened, because you killed those people in cold blood. And Zane responds with, I'm just going to call him Zane for now, because we'll discover this character's name in a minute. They respond with, I've watched you let millions of people die from the depths of Eternity Point. At least that alien race, the Exav, deserved it. And Jason's like, who are you? And they reply with, right now I'm Zane of KO35, but before that, I was Spiark of the Avadius, the Gold Omega Ranger. And Jason just looks at them, shocked, and he's like, wait a minute, there's no Gold Ranger. And Jason's lost for words right now. And Andros tries to intervene by saying, hey, Jason, when I first became a Ranger, we heard many stories about the ancient Omega Rangers, including the Gold Ranger who conquered death. Now, for a long time, I thought it was a myth. But after the invasion and I saw your broadcast, I realized if this myth is true, it could be my deliverance. So, Jason pieces it together that Andros lied to him, manipulated, broke into the vault to free the Death Ranger from there. And Andros tries to justify it by saying, it was only the way to get Zane and my people back. And Jason goes, your people? And then the Death Ranger replies with, we're going to resurrect the people of KO35 and together wipe out the Zoltrix, or whatever you want to call them, and destroy Dark Spectre. So it shows that right now, whoever's in control, whether it be the Death Ranger or Zane, they want to destroy Dark Spectre by resurrecting the dead. But then we kind of get a glimpse of who's in control here, whether it be Zane or Spiark, and they reply with, and when that's done, we will travel the galaxy, resurrecting all those who have been wrong, and finally give them what they rightfully deserve. Justice. And justice is in the speech bubble of Spiark. And Jason tries to reason with him by saying, this isn't about justice or vengeance. This isn't about justice, it's vengeance. I mean, you're killing innocent people to get what you want. And Jason even says, hey, I would do anything to see my mother again, just to speak to her for 5 seconds and tell her everything I've got to say. But I wouldn't do it through this method. And as he's pleading to Andros to sort of listen, you hear the sound of a blade being drawn, a whoomp sound, and then on the next page, in Ryan Parrott style, where you turn the page and you see the big reveal, you see Zane stabbing Jason, or the Death Ranger stabbing Jason, and Jason is confirmed dead. And the whole reason why this happened is because they require a stronger host. So now Jason is resurrected by the Death Ranger, becoming the new host, you could say. Well, is the brand new host, because they do say they require a powerful host. And then you have Yale growling at the situation. And what happens to Yale is pretty crazy. So next up, we then cut back to Safe Haven, and we see the fight between Keva and Journey. And I gotta say, the fight between Journey and Keva and Arkin, between Vox's followers and them, is a pretty awesome fight, especially having a whole page dedicated to Journey kicking ass. And I gotta say, this is one of my favorite pages in the issue. It's one of my many favorite pages in the issue, because it's basically a whole scene of Journey kicking ass. And what we get is this exchange of blows between the two characters, and this would look awesome animated. I would love to see this fan animated or something, just the exchange of blows that Journey does, and you sort of see the martial arts that they were taught by Trini. It's freaking amazing. And then they finish up the attack by slamming the weapons into the ground, causing the follower to get knocked back. And then the big reveal from that fight is Journey has aged up once again, becoming an adult now. So yeah, that was really freaking cool to see Journey's display of fighting power. I loved it. I think that was a really cool scene. Okay, these next couple of pages get even crazier. So, Trini and Zack follow the Astro Mega ship back to KO-35, and Andros and Zane are just sitting there, as Zane says it's a magical feeling to see his old home planet again, and they're ready to see what's about to happen next, but they're intercepted by Zack and Trini, and Andros says, "I'm sorry, but you shouldn't have followed us." And then on the next couple of pages, this blew my fucking mind. I was not expecting this. So, lightning strikes the ground, and then suddenly a bunch of hands and arms rise from the ground, and you see zombies. That's right, zombies in Power Rangers. And I'm sure zombies have been in Power Rangers before, but this is like Night of the Living Dead coming from the ground zombies in resurrection fashion. And it is terrifying. I mean, even Zack's reaction is pretty funny for the situation, where he goes, "Alien zombies? Yeah, nope." And realizing how dire the situation is, Trini says they need to teleport back to the Zords. But they hear a mysterious voice call out to him by saying, "I'm afraid I can't let you do that, Trini of Earth." And then when you turn the page, you see a Death Ranger-ified Yale and Jason. And I gotta say, I love their suits as they're inflicted or infected by the Death Ranger, because Yale has like claws coming out of him, like Wolverine claws coming out of him. Jason's armor looks really awesome now, as it sort of has the embodiments of the Death Ranger, which we've kind of seen in a couple of preview pages for issue 100, so we kind of knew this was coming, but how it would happen blew my mind. But then a fight interrupts between all of them, and the Death Ranger says, "Jason and Yale are now in my service, as you will be too." And this fight just turns really bad for Zack and Trini, where Zack is sucker punched by Zane and gets knocked to the ground, and then on the next page, you see Yale pouncing towards Zack, and it's assumed that Yale just tore Zack apart and killed him, because you see Zane saying, "Just let it go, Zack. It will all be over in a moment." So, even though they don't show it, it's pretty much implied what just happened to Zack, where Yale just tore him apart. And then you cut back to Trini fighting Jason, or Death Ranger Jason. And this fight is just freaking amazing, because even Trini can't defeat Jason. But the Death Ranger is getting into Trini's head by saying, "He's watched them all for so long. You claim to protect the life, but all you do is endanger it. The creation of the empowered," referring to Shattered Grid, "the fall of the adversaries, the rise of the Imperials, and don't forget about mentioning Lord Draken." And they reply with, "I simply can't allow," Jason, "I simply can't allow you to dishonor the name of the Omega Rangers." And thanks to Andros, I will no longer have to. And then you just see Jason as the Death Ranger going in for the strike, or Death Ranger Jason going for the strike. And Andros is watching in shock by saying this all has to stop. And Zane replies with, I know how you feel, but you did the right thing. And Andros replies with, I expect that the real Zane wouldn't agree. And it almost seems like that Andros is going to get turned into a Death Ranger as well, but he escapes through an arch portal and heads back to the others on the other side. And you kind of feel the dire situation because Andros thinks he's being chased in this moment, or we don't know if he got followed, but they have that moment where the bad guys are like, should we go after him? And Death Ranger Jason replies with, of course he'll return. No, wait. Well, Zane does ask, saying, you were right. He didn't have the strength for this. He's gone. And Death Ranger Jason replies with, of course, but he will eventually return with the Power Rangers. And they will find death waiting for them. And behind Jason, you see silhouettes of the Omega Rangers, sort of implying that they've been turned into Death Rangers as well. So, holy shit. That fight between the Omegas and the Death Rangers was crazy. I can't wait to see what's going to happen in issue 100 at the end of next month. So, Andros runs through the portal and he realizes his mistake. And he's like, did anyone follow me? Did anyone follow me? And 11's like, I don't think so, which could imply that something might come from that portal and go to the safe haven, freeing everything on the vault. But Andros realizes a mistake and that he was wrong. And Journey asks, saying, are the Omega Rangers still alive? And Andros is like, I don't know. So, on the last 2 pages, we then cut back to the command center on Earth, continuing on from what we saw in Mighty Morphin 22, where Billy and Tommy are talking about Kimberly meeting her emissary. And Tommy's like, hey, I wonder if there's other secondary emissaries or territory emissaries. And Billy replies with, I mean, does the White Ranger have an emissary? And Tommy's like, I never thought about it. And Tommy's like, it'd be cool if I got my own. And Billy replies with, or maybe the white light is the combination of all the colors. Or maybe you're all the emissaries. And Tommy's like, okay, you had me, Billy, and then you lost me. And then suddenly, behind them as they're talking, you see a portal open. And you hear someone say, Rangers, apologies for me arriving like this, but the universe needs your help. And then on the final page, you have Andros, Journey, Kevor, and 11 standing there in this cool action pose. And then it says, to be concluded. So yeah, that was Power Rangers issue 22 or MMPR issue 99. And I gotta say, Ryan did an amazing job with this issue. The artist did an amazing job with this issue. The letterers and colorists and everyone who works on this comic did an amazing job with this issue. I mean, it was crazy balls to the wall. And I didn't think it would go this crazy leading into issue 100, but the stakes are high. And I do wonder how they're going to defeat the Death Ranger and save their friends, because if Jason's dead, can he be revived? If Trini's dead, can she be revived? If Zach's dead, can he be revived? If Yale's dead, can they be revived? We don't know at this point. And I want to see how this run that Ryan Parrott is doing is gonna end, because this feels like a big send-off he's planning for these characters that he's been writing for a really long time. And I can't wait to see what's going to happen in issue 101 and beyond, which we'll probably find out later down the line. But I can't wait to learn the backstory of the Death Ranger at the end of the month. That's going to be really exciting. But oh my god, this issue was fantastic. And I think I'm going to bring it to a close. So, if you enjoyed this review, if you enjoyed this video, slap that like button, subscribe to the channel. If you're new, don't forget to turn on notifications and all that stuff. Leave a comment down below, because comments help and stuff like that. But with that said, I'm out of here. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day or night, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out. Take care. Bye.